Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a day where your pain was manageable, maybe just even in the background, but then as the day wore on, something stressful happened? A difficult phone call, a looming deadline, a family argument, and suddenly, as the day progressed, you felt that familiar ache or pain start to creep back in, growing louder and louder, and by the end of the day, you were in a full-blown flare-up. And you thought to yourself, what happened? What did I do wrong? What did I do differently? If this sounds familiar, I want you to know that you didn't do anything wrong, you're not imagining it, and it's quite common. The link between stress and pain is a powerful biological reality. And today we're going to talk about this and unravel it a bit further. So in this video, we're going to do 3 things. First, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening in your brain and body when you're stressed. Second, we'll connect the dots to understand why this can make your pain worse. And most importantly, I'm going to give you 5 evidence-based strategies that you can start using today to break this vicious cycle. So let's begin. When your brain perceives a threat, whether it's a real physical danger or an emotional stressor like a work deadline, it activates a powerful chain of command called the HPA axis, or the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. And you can think of this as your body's accelerator pedal. Your hypothalamus sends a signal to your pituitary gland, which then tells your adrenal glands to release a flood of stress hormones, primarily adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline gives you that immediate jolt of energy, your heart beats faster, your breathing quickens. And cortisol is one of the body's main stress hormones, follows shortly after, raising your blood sugar and preparing your body for a sustained fight or flight response. And this system is great for short-term survival. But the problem is, our modern lives are full of stressors that don't just go away. And when the HPA axis is activated over and over again, your body is flooded with cortisol, leading to the feeling we know as stress. So this constant state of high alert suppresses the other side of your nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system. And this is your body's wind down and relaxation system. It's responsible for your rest and digest functions. It can calm you down, lower your heart rate, and promotes healing. When your body is constantly in a stress state, it rarely gets the opportunity to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which can help you to relax. And this is where the connection to chronic pain begins. So in other videos, we've talked about central sensitization, one of the processes where the nervous system becomes more wound up and overprotective, like a faulty car alarm that goes off when a leaf touches it. And chronic stress can amplify this process. So the constant presence of stress hormones, such as cortisol, makes your nervous system more sensitive. It tells your brain to be on high alert for danger. Over time, your brain actually gets better at creating pain. The nerve pathways for pain become stronger and more efficient. Your brain starts to interpret non-painful signals, like normal movement or gentle touch, as threatening, and it can respond with pain. So to put it simply, stress doesn't just add to your pain, it can actually turn up the volume on the pain you already have. It makes your already sensitive nervous system even more reactive. So this is why a stressful day can lead to a physical pain flare-up. Your body isn't creating a new injury, it's amplifying the signals it's already receiving. But the good news is we can turn down the stress response, which means we can also turn down the volume of pain our body gives us. So how do we actually go about doing this? So here are 5 simple, quite powerful techniques you can use to activate your parasympathetic nervous system and calm down this stress response. So the first technique is diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. When you breathe deeply into your belly, you physically stimulate your body's calming system. So you can place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. You can take a slow, deep breath in through your nose for a count of 4, feeling your belly expand like a balloon, but your chest should remain relatively still. Then you can breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. And then you can do this for 2 or 3 minutes, and it can be a really powerful reset button. The second technique is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding exercise. So when you're stressed, your mind is often racing about the future or ruminating on the past. So this exercise brings you forcefully into the present moment and helps stop that cycle. Wherever you are, you can pause and name 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can feel. So that might be the chair beneath you, your feet on the floor, a breeze, etc. Then 3 things that you can hear and 2 things that you can smell And finally, one thing that you can taste. So, this simple act of sensory awareness interrupts that stress cycle and helps your body focus on the present moment. The third technique is gentle, mindful movement. So, when you're stressed and in pain, sometimes the last thing you want to do is intense exercise. But gentle, mindful movement can be incredibly calming. And this can be as simple as a slow walk where you focus on the feeling of your feet on the ground, or some simple stretching exercises. The goal is not to burn calories or to push yourself or to get stronger. It's to send a signal of safety to your brain. So it's telling your body, see, we can move and we are safe. The fourth technique we want to talk about is the worry dump journal. So often stress builds because our worries are swirling around in our heads with no place to go. So this can be useful if you take 5 minutes before bed and do a bit of a worry dump. So write down everything that's on your mind, no matter how big or small. Getting it out of your head and onto paper or your phone or a list on your laptop can actually create a sense of psychological distance and help calm the mental chatter in your mind. And then the fifth technique is scheduling non-productive rest. And in our busy lives, we've been trained to feel guilty for resting. And I want you to reframe rest as a biological necessity, not a luxury. And not many of us are very good at this. So try to schedule 10 or 15 minutes into your day for a deliberate, non-productive rest. This isn't scrolling on your phone or browsing social media, which doesn't really lead to your body resting. You want to try to intentionally do something like sitting with a cup of tea or looking out the window, listening to music, or simply closing your eyes. It's a scheduled appointment with your parasympathetic nervous system. And then finally, the most hopeful part of this entire story is neuroplasticity. So just as your brain learned to have a bit of an overactive stress response or a sensitive nervous system, it can also learn a new, calmer way of being. So every time you practice one of these techniques, you're building a new neural pathway. You're strengthening the brake pedal of your nervous system and making changes to the way your brain operates. So as with all the topics we discuss, this isn't a quick fix or a magic solution. Rather, it's another tool that with consistent effort can allow you to manage your symptoms and improve your quality of life when living with chronic pain.